But again, the talk's making payments fun. If you're not here for this talk, then then you're in the wrong room. There might be another room you're looking for. But again, we're talking about payments. I'm a huge payment geek. Like, I really like payments. This is my thing. I work for PayPal, and our goal is to help you make money, right? Because if you make money, we make more money. And I just niche area on payments. Like, I kind of want to like help people make more money. But this joke is really like a bunch of crazy jokes, geek payment jokes. So you got to bear with me. The title of this talk was supposed to be like a credit card form walks into a bar. Let me tell you a joke about this. So a credit card form walks into a bar. He says to the bartender, "I've been having a hard time meeting people." The bartender says, "Wait, aren't you supposed to be good at generating like interest?" So you get it? It's a bad, I know it's a, sort of. It's a bad joke. Well, you only got like 45 more minutes of me. Thank you very much for staying here. Trust me, it's not all bad jokes like this, but there's actually informative information. So again, the title of this talk is supposed to be a credit card form walks into a bar, or really a series of bad jokes by Justin Wu. But the reason why I'm so interested in payments is this, because I think, do a lot of people remember the GeoCities days back in the day? Right, you see this, right? See, and the sad thing is, right, we still see a lot of payment forms that kind of look like it was built back then, right? You guys have seen it, right? Has anyone seen a payment form where you're like, man, are we in the 1980s or something, right? And it's really out there. Let me give you an example. So this is a website. Again, I apologize if you guys work for the government or anything, but this website, pay.gov here. It's actually a way for you to reduce the public debt, right? So there's this actual website. And so the way to pay for this is a mobile website, by the way. You go to pay.gov. It's an actual website live right now. You go here. You actually need to scroll right and more, and then like down, just so that you can like fill in the blanks, right? And there's even a PDF preview, which is like, why would you do that? And then look at the number of texts here, just warning. This is paying the government, paying the debt of the public, right? And so like it's out there, right? Sites like this are out there, right? I mean, this is an actual government website, live, by the way. So we see this. I'm sure you guys see this all the time, like a bad payment website, right? So my goal really is to sort of rid the world of these websites. And it's not difficult, and I'll show you a few tools and tricks to do that. So really this talk is about things things merchants should not do when making and buy more stuff online, right? And really get rid of the world of these websites. So each of these things, I'm going to go through a good idea and bad idea. So I've already shown you like a bad website that I think needs changes. One website that I like, that I really think seamlessly accepts payments is like Uber. Has anyone used this before? You guys have used Uber, right? So the great thing about Uber is that the payment is so seamless, right? Like you don't even need to whip out your credit card, right? It's what you call like an invisible app. Whereas traditionally with taxi cabs, you have to whip out your credit card and then put in a tip and all this other stuff. With Uber, the powerful part about it is like you just pay and accepts payment like that, right? And I'm going to show a few more details on how they actually accept the credit card. But what I want you to think about is like if you make payments as seamless as like not even thinking about it, then hopefully you get more money. Anyway, the first thing that people do, a lot of merchants do to prevent that, I think makes it difficult for me when I want to buy stuff, is like add a captcha. Anyone, you guys are familiar with captchas, right? So we see this with like donation forms a lot. Like you see this, it's just like, why do you want to add a captcha and what do you want to give you money? If a bot or some hacker wants to give you money, let them. But the reason why they do this, add a captcha, is because a lot of people like to test out their credit cards on donation forms. So they add a captcha. I think there are better ways to do this. One of the most frustrating places that I think people add a captcha is on the airplane Wi-Fi. And this is not even like a great captcha, right? Like anybody could, any hacker could write a bot that could hack this. But like, I mean, to me on the airplane, like I guess I couldn't fathom somebody going on an airplane and trying out a bunch of credit cards on an airplane going for the Wi-Fi, right? But to me, what's a good idea? I think if you got to do captcha, then maybe use Google's reCAPTCHA. Have you guys heard of this before? So it uses mouse detection just to signal whether it's a robot or not. So actually what happens here is you simply click that checkbox and it'll determine whether you're a bot or not. And then if it can't detect that, it's going to ask you for a text. If not, it's going to ask you for a bunch of cute photos to choose that. This is a different way of thinking about capture. The second thing that I think a lot of people do when accepting payments online is asking users to register. Now, this is not as bad, but really what's really horrible, and I feel that shouldn't be done, is asking users to register before purchasing. Right? Have you guys seen this, right? Like, I simply want to buy something. So like Woot, this is an example. Do you guys use Woot? Yeah. Right? And it's like, this is the impulse purchase website. Like, oftentimes, so those not familiar with Woot, you have 24 hours to buy this object. In this case, it's like a $120 like curved gel topper, which you probably don't need, but it's on sale for 24 hours. So like, it's the epitome of like impulse purchase. They want you to buy it as quickly as possible. But to do that, they want you to register before even purchasing. So there's no guest sign up, there's no nothing. Here, you actually need to create an account. What's worse is they actually sign you up for an email. Here you get the Woot Daily Digest email full of deals and dumb jokes and the occasional hilarious Woot newsletter. So you can't even check out of the newsletter. So not only you can't even buy it, you actually need to sign up and you need to sign and you opt into the newsletter automatically. So on the mobile side, that's even worse too. What's a good idea? So it's a very simple solution, right? Like provide a guest checkout. So here's Walmart. They provide like guest way to checkout. If you don't want to sign up, you can create an account later. Create and Bell does the same thing too. You can continue as a guest, right? Just simple things like that. A second thing that a lot of merchants don't do is not allow me to store my credit card info. So this is particularly irritating on Wi-Fi on airplanes. So a lot of people, I don't know whether people take airplanes and they go on Wi-Fi. So here, they actually asked me to register. But, I mean, what's the purpose of registering? Like, the only thing that they saved was the name on the card. Like, if you want to do that, why not just save the credit card information, right? Make it easier for me to purchase something. And I want to show you a few good ideas on how to do that. So like Uber and Hotel Tonight do that really well. And I'll show you, this is one of my favorite apps here. Let me just get this in. And I'll show you why it's so important to sort of save your credit card information and how they do it here. So for Hotel Tonight, I don't know whether you guys use this. You can actually buy a hotel for a cheap price tonight. So there's a few prices here. And because they save my credit card, they can do cool things like that. Like you just book it and, oh, so that's not available. Wow, that got sold out quickly. And so it allows me to choose my payment methods, allows me to select the different payment methods because it's already saved my credit card. And then all I need to do is do this cool UX here, to purchase it. So really quick way to do that. Now the great thing about this app is, now I'll go into more detail about this app later on, but in order to add more payment methods, right, they do it really simply, right? So not only do they accept PayPal, but they allow you to scan your credit card too. So you can just scan your credit card and edit that in, like a really seamless way for you. And then once it's captured that information, it already saves your credit card information really well. Another cool thing that I want you to notice is this. So as I type in my credit card information, it automatically detects the credit card type. I'll go through that later on. But see, in a single input, like I didn't even have to select the other forms. It pops out really nicely. It's a really cool UI. And then I want to show you Uber too. So the great thing about Uber is that, you know, like you just walk out of the car and it accepts the payment. So that's really cool. But there's a very similar thing to here. Not only can you scan your credit card, but in a single input form, I can enter my credit card information, right? It's not like I need to select different input fields in my form. So really neat, really cool way to do that. And I'll show you later some tools that you can use to build that. All right, so what do you go into Hotel Tonight? Uber, okay. Right, it's really cool, right? Like, so a few things I want to take note of those with Uber and Hotel Tonight. Not only do they save the credit card information and make it easy for you to purchase something, but they make it very easy for you to enter in the credit card information, right? So here's another joke here. An American Express walks into a bar in Moscow. The bartender says, "Sorry, mate, you aren't allowed in here without a visa." So get it? Okay, I know it's a bad joke. No way, there's not many of this. There's very few of them because unfortunately there's not many credit card walks into a bar jokes. Anyway, one of my biggest pet peeves about credit card forms, and one that I feel like everyone should eliminate, is not auto-detecting the credit card type. Like, don't have the user automatically user input in what credit card type it is. Now, so folks in the credit card industry, each of the digits of the credit card represents something different. The first few digits represents this thing called the major industry identifier and the issue identification number, which tells you what type of credit card it is, like Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express. And there's even a Wikipedia article on it. Literally, this is like a blatant copy of Wikipedia. The first few digits, for example, in Visa, it's always going to start with a 4. You can see American Express is always going to start with 34 or 37. So from the first few digits of the credit card, you can already tell what credit card type it is. But yet, there are a couple of sites that, like this on a mobile website, that they ask you to select the credit card type when already you should know this. So I'm going to give you a few tools in case you don't want to build it yourself. What you can do is, there's a couple of libraries out there that will allow you to do this. So this is a jQuery library right here, and as you can see, as I type it in, it will automatically detect the credit card type, right? And then, it's automatically detecting it against a jQuery plugin. Here's another one that uses vanilla, just JavaScript. It's a JavaScript library that does that. It detects Visa, right? And if I want to do American Express, same thing. It would automatically detect American Express. So you don't even need to build it yourself. These libraries already automatically detect the credit card type. And so why have the user enter that in? Okay. So I showed you that. I showed you this. The other thing is, the card security number, right? So a lot of times when, so those who shop online, as you know, really what you want to do is you want to ask the user to put in, for Visa, it's the 3 digits at the back of the card, or on American Express, it's the 4 digits in the front of the card. But a lot of times they'll present it like an eyesore like this, right? So it's a lot of words and a lot of text, a lot of images. Sometimes the images don't even line up with the text. Like in this case, the magnifying glass doesn't even line up with the card itself. So I'm going to show you a few better ways to do it. Really, all you need to do is inform the user of 2 things. One, for MasterCard and Visa, it's the CVC or CVV, and that's at the back of the card. For the American Express, it's a CID, or Discover is a CID that's in the front of the card. That's 4 digits in front of the card. That's all you really need to do is tell the user about that. Now, there's a couple of cool ways to do it. The first library I'll show you is this library here that does it really well. Let's show you. So let me show you. As I'm typing in the card, the first thing it does is, as you see, it will transform the card to a Visa type, right? And then when I hit the CVC, it will tell me at the back where to put it, right? So it's like really cool, really sleek way to do that. And here's another one too, right? Another great library too. These are libraries that you can use. And then once I've typed in the number, I switch to the other side to fill in the CVC. But it's a really neat way to do it. I can show you again for maybe American Express. Of course, it's in the front of the card there, right? Yeah, so it's like a really cool way to do it, right? I mean, that's all you need to communicate to the user. You don't have to show them like a really, really crazy image or text in order to do that. All right, so that's that. And again, I showed you this and that. Another thing that I feel should be done is validating the credit card number in line. So what I mean by that, so there's this thing called the LUN algorithm. And for each credit card, you can actually do this. So you can take any credit card, even your own credit card at home, like your credit card now, and it's going to follow this algorithm. Now, I'll walk you through this algorithm. But just to let you know, the last digit, so I've already told you what the first few digits represent. It's a credit card type. The last digit is what we call the check digit. It actually validates the LUN algorithm and makes sure that the credit card is a valid credit card. So what I mean, so you can take any credit card number itself, like this. So this is not my credit card, by the way, somebody else's credit card. But you can take this credit card and you flip it. So what happens is the 4 in the front becomes the 4 at the back. The 9 at the back becomes the 9 in the front, right? You just simply flipped it, right? And then what? You mirror image it. And then you double every second digit. So like you see 9, 1, 1 becomes 2, 5 becomes 10, 0, 1 becomes 2, and then 4 becomes 8. And then every second digit. And then you simply add them all up. And then the addition of all that should be divisible by 10. And this happens with every single credit card. So what this means is you can actually validate to see whether a credit card is valid on the client itself without even processing it, without even sending it to the server. A couple of sites do this okay, which is like Amazon. What they do is when you hit add your card, before even sending it to the server, it will do a run check to see whether the card number is correct or not. And the reason why you want to do this is, A, you don't want to set bad credit cards, then you don't have chargebacks, etc. like that. But sometimes the user might enter in a credit card number by mistake. And so before even like instantaneously, right, you can already give feedback to the user. Okay, another thing that people don't normally do is limit the number of digits. So for each of these credit card types, American Express, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, there's a certain number of digits. American Express is always 15 digits. MasterCard is always 16 digits. Visa is normally 16, but could be 13 too. So you already know the number of digits. But yet there are a lot of websites that allow you to enter. So it's this Google Wallet, by the way, and they allow you to enter in a bunch of credit card numbers. Now I know a lot of people don't have a credit card number like 4 and a multitude of ones, but a lot of people do have digits at the end of the credit card that are similar, right? So by not limiting the number of digits, then the credit card, the user sometimes can add mistakes. And if you know the number of digits, you can do cool things like what I showed you with Uber, right? So I'll show you this library here. And why this is so unique is A, not only does it automatically detect the credit card type, but you see it knows that it's 16 digits, you see, so 13, 14, 15, 16, and then automatically it will go to the date and then CVV. So that's why this is so powerful, right? Because it's like it detects the credit card type. Again, this would also do a run check and then limit the number of digits, right? It does a few cool things on there. And then so I'll just show you that we also have our own form here from Braintree, and it does a few things like that too. So we have this drop-in form here. Again, this is just an iframe that you can pop in, and if you want to figure out how to build it, feel free to come to me later on. But not only do we detect the credit card type, but we also do a run check. So for example, if I type in 2, it will tell me it's the wrong credit card number really quickly, right? So that's done on the client side itself. All right, so let's move on here. So another thing, this not to do with credit card forms, but basically when selecting calendar views is dates is not providing me with a calendar view when selecting dates. So I think a lot of people have seen this where like you want to buy a train ticket or plane ticket or rent a car, and you're not provided a calendar view. So why is this cumbersome, right? Because sometimes I know I want to go on a trip next week, but I don't know the date. So I take out my phone, I hit the calendar view, I find out what date it is, and I go back to this view, isn't it? Right? And sometimes it's crazier, right? Like, is it going to be month, day, year, or in Europe, which is day, month, year? So sometimes you don't even know, right? Like, you could type in the wrong date. What's better is if you can simply just provide, like for enterprise AVIS, and I think this is all bits, if you can just provide a calendar view, which the user is familiar with, to select the date. Right? Like, so much easier than figuring out the day of the month, etc. Yeah, so that's a simple solution. Another thing that some people do when making purchases online, especially with with states or countries, is providing a long scrolling list. So like here, right? Here, you want to select the state of America. Well, you have a huge list you need to go through, right? It's just very cumbersome. Or worst of a country. So what I suggest is, instead of doing a scrollable list, allow the user to enter in the first few alphabets of the country, and then pre-select for it. So in this case, you type in UN, and it selects either United Kingdom, or maybe United Republic of Tanzania, or United Arab Emirates. Just the first few alphabets, just by doing that. Another thing that I think you should do, especially on mobile websites, is to provide the appropriate keyboard layout. So like here, so just to let you know, there's a couple of keyboard layouts. If you don't specify which keyboard layout, I'll show you how to do that. It's going to default to the alphabetical keyboard layout. So why is this cumbersome? The reason why is, let's say you're entering the credit card number. What you have to do is then you have to select the numerical keyboard and then select the numbers, right? Just like an extra step, right? Like, why have people do that? And there are two types of numerical keyboard. There's a traditional one or there's a telephone one, which is even simpler, right, for people to enter in, right? So why not let people do that? It's funny, there are websites that should start, there are some websites which is, it's funny, right? So if you're already doing, this website already does it on the card number, but for the card security code, they forgot to do it. They defaulted back to alphabetical. So you should do it for like everywhere if you can. And it's really simple to do it. So there's actually this website, mobileinputtypes.com, but it's not, you don't really need a website to do it. Just to let you know, the way you specify this, for example, if you want the email keyboard, you set the input type equals the email. That's all you need to do. And of course, for the telephone, it's really simple. You just set the input type equals telephone. And then every time the user hits one of these input fields, it's going to default to the telephone keyboard, which is the easiest way to enter in credit card information. Something else is not disable autocorrect when appropriate. So I think we're all familiar with like funny autocorrect jokes. I think this is my favorite here, where the mom found out that the daughter is pregnant through autocorrect. But it's very irritating, autocorrect. And when is it irritating? It's specifically irritating when you're entering in the address. Because a lot of people's addresses don't show up in autocorrect, right? In fact, mine doesn't. Mine is like Birchwood Drive, and it's autocorrects is something else, something crazy. So it's just very troublesome for the user. And so to get rid of it, it's very simple. All you do is you set input type autocorrect equals off. And I suggest you do this for addresses, because a lot of people's addresses don't autocorrect, right? I mean, they're not in the dictionary. I've already talked about how making it difficult to enter credit card information on a mobile device, the pay.gov. But let me show you like a really good idea. So there's Uber, and I showed you the way to scan credit cards on the mobile device. So let me try to pull this up here. You can see I have a flight later on. Anyway, so I'm going to hopefully trust you guys don't steal my credit card, but if you do, then I just want to show you that it works, right? So this one, I mean, this is card.io, and as you can see, what it does, automatically detects the credit card number, right? And yeah, you can, if you do buy a few drinks for people, if you do take my credit card, but that's I mean, yeah. Anyway, that's really cool. But what's even cooler is that you can not only can you do it in a native app, you can also do it in a web browser. So let me show you here. This is Amazon.com's webpage, right? And here, this is simply the Safari web browser. I can do the same thing. So I can add a new payment method. And instead of entering the credit card name, as you can see below there, there's this option saying scan your credit card. And this is a web browser, this is a website, and I can do exactly the same thing too. Right? There we go too. And so, and sometimes if it's the lighting's correct, it's going to detect my name, and it's going to enter in the address and stuff. It's cool. Now that you guys have seen my credit card number.
Drinks on you tonight,
Yeah,
Chief.
thank you. So again, it's really cool, right? I mean, the way to do this in Safari is one of your input names needs to be defined as credit card or card. And then Safari will automatically detect that as a credit card input, and then it will pop up that UI for you. So again, really simple way, right, for you to do that. I mean, it's already inbuilt. Again, it's only Safari, not in Android, but it's cool, right, in a web browser how you can do that, right? And then the native app itself, you want to use like a library like card.io, something like that. All right. So I wanted to move on to, so we've already talked about payment types and credit card forms, but like what's something like taking it to the next level, right? I want to talk about some experiences like that. There's a few examples out there, like Target, SnapUp, or Haiku. I think Haiku is an example whereby, you know, it automatically detects when stuff is going to be running out in your fridge, and then it will restock it like automatically. Or like Target, you can actually shop. You can shop on the magazine itself and detect stuff like that. A few other places are even taking it even further. Like Zappos is this interesting way whereby it actually tracks the shoe mileage on your shoes, and then once the shoe has reached a certain mileage, it will like automatically order like a pair of shoes for you. I mean, I know that's crazy, but I know it's just ways of thinking of how you can take mobile shopping to the next level. Or like this Dorothy is actually a device where you slip into your shoe, and then when you click your heels together, it will automatically order an Uber to your location. Yeah, and it's kind of the reason why I mentioned this. Yeah, I mean the reason why I mentioned this is I think we think of payments as like credit cards, but it's like how to take shopping to the next level, right? And like really expand ways we do this. These are okay examples. Some of them provide maps in stores, or like they let you know whether something's in stock nearby. Or here where you can actually, it's funny, they provide currency in the term of social media. So basically, if you have more Instagram followers, you get a higher discount. Yeah, that's one of the crazy things that some of these folks do. Or you can pay using your airline miles or Bitcoin, etc., like that. And then, I guess this is the one example that I think is actually that people are really taking it to the next level. So Reserve is really like asking you to reserve a table and pay for your bill all within the application itself. I think that's really taking off like in New York. And then Starbucks, this is where I think it's getting a bit creepy. So Starbucks knows your location, and as you are walking towards the store, it's going to automatically order your favorite cup of coffee and then have it ready for you before you even reach the store. Yeah, kind of crazy. I mean, it's taking it next level, but I think it's this whole concept of invisible app or buying it, for buying stuff for you to make purchasing sort of seamless for you. So here's one of my last jokes. A credit card walks into a bar. The bartender says, "I haven't seen you in a while." The credit card looks at him and says, "Yeah, I had to go to jail. I was charged with bad humor." I know, a really bad joke, but actually that's the last of my jokes and actually the end of my talk actually. Yeah, anyways, I'm Justin Wu, and thank you for listening. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.